The fluorescent lights in the executive conference room were buzzing, that low electric hum you stop noticing after you've spent too many years in corporate purgatory. I sat across from Mason Reed, our CTO. He didn't look up from his tablet, not once. The decision had already been made before I walked in. Between us were months of my work, annotated architecture docs, migration plans, dependency maps for the Phoenix Initiative. 7 years of systems knowledge condensed into neat, labeled folders. "Brinley," he said finally, eyes flicking up with that carefully neutral executive expression, "I'm restructuring the Phoenix team. You're moving into an advisory role. Damian Cross will be taking over as lead architect. We want some fresh perspective." Fresh perspective. Damian had been at peak for 11 months. I'd spent 7 years cleaning up infrastructure chaos, designing every dependency, documenting every integration, and building Phoenix from the ground up. "I see," I said, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. "When does this take effect?" "Immediately. Damian's already been briefed. You'll support as needed, but he'll be making the calls." Support as needed. Translation. Do the thinking, take none of the credit. I gathered my papers, stood up, and walked out without looking back. No shaking hands, no raised voice, but something shifted on the way back to my desk. Not anger, something colder, sharper, calculated. Back at my corner workstation, the office felt exactly the same. Developers hammering away at keyboards, PMs arguing over timelines at whiteboards, Slack notifications popping nonstop. Everyone still assumed I was the fixer. 3 emails were already waiting. Kelsey needed help with a query. Security flagged a vulnerability. A junior dev was waiting on my code review, all of them assuming I was still the safety net. That afternoon, I watched through the glass as Damian presented in my conference room, standing in front of my diagrams, green marker notes I'd drawn months ago. Mason nodded along, asking questions I'd already answered in the docs. Damian skimmed without really understanding. Fresh perspective apparently meant my caution looked like hesitation. My precision looked like over-engineering. Never mind that I hadn't caused a single production incident in 4 years. My system wasn't just code, it was institutional memory, rollback paths, edge cases, disaster recovery scenarios learned the hard way, all dismissed by someone who'd never been up at 3 a.m. reversing a bad deployment to keep clients from walking. I checked my calendar, 6:45 a.m. starts, 9:30 p.m. log-offs, no real lunch breaks in months. I'd been compensating for everyone else's gaps, work that never appeared in my job description. My phone buzzed. "Hey, Damian's asking about the sharding strategy. Can you send him your notes?" I replied. "Everything's documented, architecture repo, section 124. No hand-holding, no extra explanations, just facts." That's when it clicked. Not rage, clarity. I opened a blank doc and typed 4 lines. "Work your contracted hours, stop treating every request like an emergency, let others own their problems, loyalty goes both ways." Then I changed my alarm to 8:30 a.m. and left the office at 5 p.m. for the first time in years. The subway ride home felt surreal. I'd taken that route thousands of times, usually exhausted, usually in the dark, mentally drafting emails to prevent the next fire. Now it was early evening, people in suits heading home, students laughing, tourists checking maps, a whole world of people who left work on time and didn't feel guilty about it. When I unlocked my apartment, my roommate Bellamy was cooking. She turned, startled. "You're home before 7, are you sick?" "No," I said, "just on time." She studied my face. "Something happened at work. I'll tell you over dinner." For the first time in years, I actually sat at the table. The next morning, I arrived at 9 a.m., not late. 9 was the official start time listed in every handbook, just not for me, apparently. Sticky notes covered my desk. Overnight issues that would have had me answering Slack at midnight a week ago. I peeled them off and dropped them straight into the recycling bin. No triage, no panic. At 10:15, Damian showed up. "Hey, Brinley, I'm hitting a weird issue with the authentication migration." "Since you built the original, I'm tied up," I said calmly. "Did you check the documentation?" He hesitated. "Yeah, but some of it doesn't. If there's a gap, submit a ticket. I'll add it to my backlog." I turned back to my screen. He stood there for a few seconds, then walked away. At 11 o'clock, another engineer stopped by. Quick question about the caching layer, open a ticket, I said. Platform team will triage. By lunch, 4 more people tried. I redirected every single one, documentation, process, ownership. The guilt faded faster than I expected. In the afternoon meeting, Damien presented a revised Phoenix timeline. I listened quietly as he cut safeguards I'd built for a reason. Redundant failovers, overhead, gradual migrations, too slow. Nobody asked for my input, so I didn't give it. Afterward, Claudia pulled me aside. That rollout feels reckless. What do you think? I think Damien's the lead architect, I said. You should take it up with Mason. At 5:03 p.m., I logged off. Unread Slack messages stacked up behind me as I walked out into daylight. By Thursday, things were unraveling. People still expected me to save them. I didn't. Questions went unanswered. Config changes hit the wrong environments. Runbooks weren't updated because no one officially owned them anymore. By Friday night, Bellamy was cooking again when I got home early. This is 4 days in a row, she said. Are you okay? I think I finally am. I told her everything. She listened quietly, then asked, how much of your life has that job taken? I didn't have an answer. Monday morning, Mason called me in. Production had gone down over the weekend. 9 hours offline, data corruption, a near loss of their biggest client. I need you back, he said, as lead architect. I looked at him calmly. What changed? He didn't answer. 4 weeks ago, I was too slow. Today, I'm essential. My skills didn't change. The consequences did. Silence. What do you want? He finally asked. I'll think about it, I said. You'll have an answer Wednesday. Wednesday, I came back with terms, clear, written, non-negotiable, authority, boundaries, pay aligned with market value, no more hero culture. He signed. 3 weeks later, Phoenix stabilized. 6 months later, I was promoted, this time with real authority, real support, and real balance. And for the first time in my career, I didn't feel like I had to disappear to succeed. My revenge wasn't loud, it wasn't sabotage. It wasn't screaming, it was boundaries, silence, and finally choosing myself. I didn't just get my job back, I got my life back, and that was freedom.